Welcome into the Fantasy Football Diagnostics Podcast, where we provide you with your weekly diagnosis of everything fantasy football. Whether it's season-long leagues, dynasty, DFS, or sometimes even IDP, we got you covered all year long. Let's do it. Let's get to it. Welcome to the Fantasy Football Diagnostics Podcast. It is Thursday, September 28th, 2023. And of course, I'm your host, Jon Jeune. And without a doubt, got to have my guy, Greg Pennamon, here with me, break down the remaining slate of these Week 4 games. Greg, how you doing today, my brother?
Doing well. You know, getting ready for Thursday Night Football. Really good slate game we got going on tonight. Trying to finish up this fantasy get money lineup too. So yeah, I'm feeling real good. All fantasy right now.
All fantasy, all the time. We got to get money going, man, because we missed last week, and I got to get my first win of the season, man. I can't keep going like this against you. 2 close losses. Was it 2 close losses? I feel like the first one I knew was close. The second one, I don't really remember. I was really upset that I lost because, trying to get back to it. But anyway, enough about that. Like Greg said, we are here to break down the remaining slate of games. Obviously, if you're watching live, definitely appreciate that. Whether it's YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, just make sure, again, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. You don't want to miss a show, right? You don't want to miss one of those. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, then definitely we still appreciate you nonetheless. But obviously you're not catching us live and being able to interact with us. But, definitely more than welcome to do that. Or if, hey, you want to watch it after the fact on YouTube just to see some of the facial expressions and some of the funny things that go down on the show, then most definitely would encourage you to do that. But let's get started. We obviously broke down the 1 p.m. games and then the London game as well yesterday, along with Thursday Night Football. So if you're watching right now and you haven't heard the breakdown of Thursday Night Football, definitely want to go back and check that out. But without further ado, let's jump into the games. Short slate for 4 p.m., so should be a quick one. The 1-2 Las Vegas Raiders travel to Los Angeles to take on the 1-2 Los Angeles Chargers, where this game has a 47.5 point total, and the Chargers are 6-point favorites here at home. Jimmy Garoppolo, from what I understand, is in concussion protocol, so his status for this game is definitely in question. Definitely saw some line movement in the Chargers' favor after the Sunday night game, with the expectation or the thought that Jimmy Garoppolo could miss this game. As of Wednesday, he's still remaining in concussion protocol. They are on the West Coast, so we probably won't get an update on his practice status until later today. But again, I would err on the side of caution there as it pertains to Jimmy G, just because he was in a nice spot here against the Chargers. Now we get Brian Hoyer here, so don't know how much confidence we have there. But all that being said, Greg, where are you landing on these sides here?
I'm going to make this decision assuming that Jimmy G goes ahead and goes and plays this week. So I'm going to take the over. I'm going to take Vegas to cover, but I'm going to take the Chargers to win. I think the Chargers, even if Brian Hoyer was in there, Chargers don't know how to play not a close game. So I think they get the dub though.
Yeah, man. I am operating under the assumption Jimmy G does not play, so I'm going with the under here, going with the Chargers to cover, Chargers to win. I was having a conversation just on the point about the Chargers playing close games. I was having a conversation with somebody yesterday about a survivor pool, and they said, "Oh, pick the Chargers." I said, "I will literally never pick the Chargers. Never, ever pick the Chargers in a survivor. I don't want to suffer a heart attack. I'm never gonna do it."
I'm shocked that this is +6. Well, I guess Jimmy G kind of moved that line, but yeah, if Jimmy G was healthy, there's no way this would be +6.
No, I think it initially opened, if I'm not mistaken, at maybe 4.5 or something, or maybe it might have been even closer to 2.5. But yeah, now it's gone all the way down to 6, or up to 6 rather. So yeah, definitely a factor there. But let's talk about the fantasy stuff. It seems like Austin Eckler returned to practice yesterday, is on track to return to action this week. So that's definitely great news for the Chargers as well as fantasy managers. So you sticking him right back in your lineup as an RB1 in a great matchup.
Absolutely. Joshua Kelly counter to what we said was going to happen, didn't really prove much. Even in the second week, like he didn't come through. So
And a great
Austin
matchup too.
yeah. Austin Eckler put him back in with confidence. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, most definitely. He's going to be a top 5 option for me this week at the position. Herbert, Keenan Allen, we obviously know what their status is. And the question comes to how do you handle these auxiliary pieces here, right? Gerald Everett, your tight end stream of the week. Think he definitely has a great matchup here. Could definitely come through as a tight end 1 option. Josh Palmer, I know there's obviously been some debate on the waiver wire. Josh Palmer versus Quentin Johnston. Which one are you going after? I think you were adamant you're going after Quentin Johnston. I was adamant I'm going after Josh Palmer. Are you still of the belief that Quentin Johnston is the play this week against the Raiders, or do you think that's a longer-term thing?
I think it's more of a longer-term thing. I think one of these guys you should have rostered just so you don't miss out on them next week for that waiver, because I know they're available in a lot of leagues still, because I think no one's really sure on which one is going to like pop up and come through. But Brandon Staley did talk about Johnson this week for impact, taking a bigger role. So I'm hope Brandon Staley is not too much of a liar and he'll come through and get some looks. I want to see some targets his way.
Yeah, and I agree, right? Palmer is, and I think I said this when we were discussing waivers, right? Like, I think for right now, Palmer is the guy, right? Like, if you're looking for immediate production, I'm looking to Palmer for that because he already has the role. It's been well defined already, and it's clear that they see him, at least as of right now, ahead of Quentin Johnston in the pecking order. But I think Quentin Johnston is a guy that you do want to stash because I think the cream, we always say this, the cream always rises to the top. A talent always wins out. And if Quentin Johnston is the prospect that I know we both believe he is, then by end of season, he should assume a larger role in this offense. I just think for right now that is going to be Palmer. So he's going to be a wide receiver 3 for me this week against the Raiders defense that, does give it up to the wide receiver position. And it's interesting that they do that because I think if I look at here, they are 13th against the position in PPR points allowed through the first 3 weeks. But if you look at the targets and how they're distributed amongst versus the Raiders defense, the Raiders are near the bottom. They're literally the last team in the league in terms of target share allowed to wide receivers. So wide receivers aren't even being targeted at a high rate against the Raiders, yet they're still allowing the 12th most PPR points to the position.
Sounds like big plays then. Big plays.
Or 13th most PPR, correct myself. But yeah, big plays. Sounds like big plays, high efficiency there. So definitely a team that you don't need a whole lot of volume to do some damage against them for sure.
Yep.
Let's move on to the Raiders side. I mean, I don't know about you, Greg, but I don't care who the quarterback is. Give me Devontae Adams and Jacoby Myers against this Chargers secondary. Who knows? Maybe Brian Hoyer can fall into a QB one day here against this Chargers defense. Greg, you're not.
We've seen it happen. Yeah, we've seen it happen. Like a backup quarterback comes in. I mean, he's got experience in this. Just saw last week with Andy Dalton come in and just light up fantasy. So yeah, it definitely is possible for, especially against this defense right now. They've been giving it up.
Yeah, I mean the Chargers allow the most PPR points to the wide receiver position
and to the quarterback position, I think. Pretty sure.
Yeah, and they're number 1 to the quarterback position as well. In regards to target distribution to wide receivers, they're another one that they're near the bottom of the league, right? League average is about 61% in terms of target share to the wide receiver position, and the Chargers sit at 58%. So they're another one where their opposing offenses are living off of that efficiency there. So Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, fire them up.
Mm-hmm. Fire them up. Yeah, I guess you got to keep playing Josh Jacobs. It's frustrating right now, but I think you just got to keep throwing him out there.
Yeah, I think you have to, and I do expect it to turn around at some point, right? Again, he's a guy that I think as the season progresses, as he gets more and more into football shape, and he's able to mesh with that offensive line, that his production will start matching the volume that he's getting.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else on this game, Greg?
No.
All right. Let's move on to this next matchup. We've got the 1-2 New England Patriots traveling to Dallas to take on the 2-1 Dallas Cowboys, where this game has a 43.5 point total, and the Dallas Cowboys are 6.5 point home favorites in this one. I am gonna take the under here. I'm gonna take the Dallas Cowboys to cover 6.5. I will also take the Dallas Cowboys to win. Obviously, I know what happened last week in Arizona, but we recall. I think we were off the air when this happened, Greg. But Trayvon Diggs, the stud corner for Dallas, tore his ACL. And a lot of times what we fail to realize is how much losing a guy that late in the week really impacts the preparation for the team, right? It's almost not as bad, but almost as bad as losing a guy in like mid-game. So, I think that definitely had some impact on the Dallas defense and their ability to hold that Arizona offense. So I think they bounced back this week. But Greg, what about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna take the under as well. I'm gonna take the pass to cover, but I'll still take Dallas to win the game.
Yeah, definitely could see, not surprised if New England covers this one by any means. But on the Dallas side, outside of CD Lamb and Tony Pollard, do you have any real interest in Dallas pieces?
Not too much. I mean, Jake Ferguson has a tougher matchup, but like you might be in the tight end market, you might probably be forced to start him. Really right now, with just the looks he's seeing. I am,
I was delving into some target share numbers, last night, and the New England Patriots allow the second lowest target share to the tight end position at 11.7. So they've played against some decent ones as well. Dallas Goedert was one of those in week one. Week two, actually, they guess they played Durham Smythe, but that doesn't really count. And then, Tyler Conklin week three. So maybe that's a product of who they've played more than really what they've done as a defense. But Jake Ferguson, I've been adamant about him being underwhelming. You could draw like two things from here, right? Like if Belichick focuses on CD Lamb and Tony Pollard, forces the Dallas Cowboys to try to play left-handed, does that mean that more Jake Ferguson, more Brandon Cooks, more Michael Gallup, right? I think that's a train of thought that we've often taken when looking at how to attack this New England Patriots defense. So definitely, could go that way. It's just I've been so underwhelmed by Jake Ferguson. It's been
Yeah. I mean, you could take a Luke Musgrave probably tonight over him. Jared Everett probably throw his name over him, but yeah, it's tough.
We'll get to a name later. I'm telling you, I had to make this decision. We were talking about the Cleveland defense. I couldn't risk losing them. So I've got some contingency plans in place. But I dropped Jake Ferguson for the Cleveland defense, and I figure I'm just going to stream tight end the rest of the way, man. That's really what I'm going to do. So I still have up until this weekend to make my decision. And
I think that's a strategy for anyone that doesn't have Hawkinson, Andrews, or Kelsey, and
or
now that
Stanley
maybe
Porter.
and Sam Laporta. Yep.
But yeah, so that's we'll talk about that guy a little bit later. Not much later, but a little bit later. For the New England side, I mean, Ramondre Stevenson and Hunter Henry.
Yep. Those guys. Hunter Henry's been balling out all year. Had a okay week 3, I think it was, or week 2. But he's been putting up numbers relative to in the tight end market. He's a must start. And Ramondre Stevenson, yeah. Can't really trust Kendrick Bourne really right now.
No. Any interest in a Zeke Elliott revenge game?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so. All right. Anything else on that game, Greg, before we move on?
No, we're good.
All right, let's move on to the 1-2 Arizona Cardinals on a streak, one game win streak right now, traveling to Santa Clara, to take on the 3-0 San Francisco 49ers. This game has a 43.5 point total. San Francisco 49ers are 14-point favorites.
I'm sure the Cardinals are on like a 2-game cover streak, though, for sure.
It might be 3 games.
3 game might be. Yeah, they played Washington close too. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, 14-point favorites. The San Francisco 49ers are. Greg, I'm going to take the over here. I'm going to take San Fran to cover. I'm going to take San Fran to win.
14 is a lot. But they came through to get that cover on the Giants last week, and that was 10.5. I'm gonna take them to cover. I'm gonna take the over. San Fran to cover, San Fran to win.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's like I literally had the same thought. I was like, oh, did you see Arizona just what they just did to Dallas? Like, they're going to cover 14. But I'm like, I think Vegas wants me to think like that.
Great teams cover. Great teams cover. And I think 49ers are one of them.
Good teams win. Great teams cover.
Yep.
That's it. On this side, though, I know James Conner popped up on the injury report. I don't exactly know what it was. Let me just take a look at that.
Definitely unfortunate. He's having a great year.
He's having a great start to the year. Questionable, limited capacity due to a back injury. So that was Wednesday. He was limited. So definitely want to, keep an eye out on that. Would be a shame if he missed time. If he does miss any time, are you looking to a Keontae Ingram, or are you just leaving his backfield alone?
Yeah, it's James Conner or no one, I think, especially with the tough matchup already. I think I'd stay away.
Same. Hollywood Brown, or I can't. Well, sorry, we can't call him that. Marquise.
I think a wide receiver 3 is realistic. Yeah.
I do have him as a wide receiver 2, just because the Niners do give it up to wide receivers a little bit. If I just look here quickly, 14th most fantasy points, PPR points to the wide receiver position. So I think with game script, I think you could probably play Marquise in this one. Zach Ertz is another one I think has some intrigue here, just how this game might play out as a tight end 1 option. On the San Fran side, it's a little bit cleaner than that, right? Like CMC, obviously an RB1. George Kittle, I think, is ascending back into that tight end 1 realm after a strong week last week. Obviously, he was working his way back from an injury as well. And then I think, I know you're into this one. Brock Purdy, definitely in a nice spot for sure. How are you handling the wide receiver position as it pertains to the 49ers, though?
I think if Brendan, you can't go, I think Debo kind of elevates to a low end wide receiver 1. Definitely a strong wide receiver 2. If Ayuk is going, I think he's kind of the strong wide receiver 2 in this offense, and Debo's more of a low end wide receiver 2. I think that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'll mute again.
I have Devo. I was saying, I don't think it's funny. I don't think we'll ever agree on the same week when as it pertains to the 49ers wide receivers, because I have Devo as the wide receiver 1. Ayuk potentially as the wide.
Yeah. If they're both going, or do we think so?
If they're both going, that's where I'm going to lean. Just because it's just hard for me to trust a wide receiver with a shoulder injury in his first game back, unless he's had extended period of time off. But again, I still think Ayuk is a solid play for sure. So not afraid to throw him out there by any means whatsoever. Anything else on this game, Greg, before we close it out?
No, we're good here too.
Let's move on to this next one. Sunday Night Football. Did you hear Taylor Swift's going to be at this game?
Yeah, I'm here for the over under on how many sightings we get during the game.
Oh man, that should be
that should be totally aligned.
There should be a prop bet on whether Chris Collinsworth says something out of pocket.
So yeah, that's a yes or no bet.
Just a yes or no.
Yeah, I would set the sightings at least at like 10.5 to 15.
Well, it depends. How many times does Travis Kelce touch the ball, score a touchdown, make a big play? Because that's at least gonna account for like half of those appearances.
Yeah, true. That's true.
But anyway, if anyone doesn't know, we're talking about the Kansas City Chiefs, the 2-1 Kansas City Chiefs, traveling to MetLife to take on the 1-2 New York Jets. This game has a 42.5-point total, where the New York Jets are 9.5-point home underdogs here. Greg, I pitched this one to you. Where do you go with this matchup here?
Yeah, I'm taking the over, taking Kansas City to cover, Kansas City to win.
I'm going to take the under. I'm going to take Kansas City to cover and Kansas City to win the game. All right, let's just start with the easy side. Is there a New York Jet you're willing to play?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Yeah, I mean, Kansas City's secondary has been lights out this year. They've really been doing a good job on the back end. And last 2 weeks, Brees Hall hasn't really come through performance-wise. So Dalvin Cook is not really moving the ball as well with his yards per carry. So, yeah, I don't really think I can trust anyone.
Yeah, I am. I literally have Garrett Wilson on here as a high-end wide receiver 3. Maybe it's lower-end wide receiver 3, and that's if you're desperate.
You're hoping that he garbage time touchdown. He does something spectacular, like he kind of does. So
he's getting the targets, right? He still leads this team 31% target share. He's seeing 8-9 targets a game. It's just they're coming from Zach Wilson.
What quality of those targets? I need a catchable ball stat on Garrett Wilson after this year for sure.
Honestly, man. So I do think there is some semblance of fantasy production that could go there, but it's again very volatile situation. It'll be touchdown or bust. But I agree with you. Brees Hall is not playable for me this week. Yeah, that's pain. Anyway, on the other side, Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes QB1, Travis Kelce, tight end 1, probably the tight end 1 this week. I like Isaiah Pacheco as an RB2. Again, the spread here being so high, the Jets' pass defense is one that, teams typically struggle against. Not to say Patrick Mahomes is going to struggle here, but I do think that, they get some favorable looks against the run here, and Pacheco, obviously could score a touchdown as well here too.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Kind of, if you want to make the argument, start McKinnon as well. You're hoping that he kind of gets involved in the red zone and gets a touchdown there too. So I think he's more of a low end RB3 for me.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought him up, because one of the interesting stats that I uncovered when looking through the target shares yesterday through the first 3 weeks is the New York Jets are, as you would guess, near the bottom of the league in terms of targets to the wide receiver position and target share to the wide receiver position, but they allow the second highest target share to opposing running backs. They allow a 25.5% target share to opposing teams' running backs through the first 3 games. And again, that's an average. That is not a sum. That's not a total. That is an average. So obviously, Jerick McKinnon, he would be the main beneficiary of that in the Kansas City backfield. So I think he's definitely in play as an RB3.
Yeah, I agree.
Anybody else that you're interested in this game?
Taylor Swift, man. That's it.
Hey, man, any tickets out there, just hit me up. You got till like kickoff, bro. I'll sell that ticket. I just know I bought it at a premium. Aaron Rodgers was the quarterback at the time, so I'll be expecting a premium in return. So
you should. Taylor Swift's in the house. That's on par. That's par right there.
And Aaron Rodgers said he might be in the house too.
There you go. Yeah, I know you're saying, once he starts walking, he wants to get back. So, hopefully he's close to that.
Hopefully. All right. So the season started out with the New York Giants playing on Sunday night and the Jets playing on Monday night. In week 4, we get the reverse of that as the Seattle Seahawks, 2-1 Seattle Seahawks, travel to MetLife to take on the 1-2 New York Giants. This game has a 46.5-point total. Believe it or not, the Giants are 1.5-point home favorites here. This line is interesting because it did shift.
Yeah, I think it's one now.
Is it
-1
one
Giants.
now? Probably a pick 'em
Yeah.
now, but it initially opened with Seattle as the 1.5-point favorites.
Saquon, baby.
That's what I'm
Saquon,
saying.
baby. He moves lines. He moves lines.
Somebody asked me today, could they play Cam Akers because they're desperate because Saquon might be out? I said, look, I'm not a medical professional, but I have a gut feeling that Saquon plays. And it was literally just because this line moved a 1.5 out of nowhere. They just moved 3 points in the other direction, and I don't know why. My only guess is Saquon Barkley could possibly be playing. So that being said, Greg, where are you going with this matchup here?
I'm gonna take the under. I'm gonna take the Giants to cover and Giants to win. This is me assuming Saquon is playing. I think if Saquon is not playing, I think the Seahawks do win the game. That's how impactful he is to this team.
It's crazy, man. If I were Saquon Barkley, I would literally just take the film from the Arizona game and send that to John Mara, the owner, and Joe Shane, or whatever, however you say his name. Sorry, Joe, the general manager, and Brian Daboll, the head coach. And then I'd send the film from the Niners game the week later, and I say, you tell me what the difference is. Like, just tell me what the difference is. Because it seems like offense worked one week and it was broken the next. So you tell me, right? So similar to you, I'm assuming Saquon plays. I'm assuming that's why the line shifted. I'm taking the under. I'm going to take the Giants to cover. I'm going to take the Giants to ultimately win this game. If Saquon goes, is he in your lineup?
Yes, RB1, without a doubt.
Yeah, same here. I think you maybe could see, limited snap usage or limitation on his snaps, but I think he'll be utilized in key situations, especially passing situations down by the goal line. I think Saquon has to be in your lineup if he is playing, unless you have some astronomical options there. Daniel Jones, I think in an offense where Saquon is playing, is a much better fantasy option than he is without Saquon Barkley. So I think he's a borderline QB1 for me this week. Greg, do you agree?
Yeah, I agree. Seattle definitely a vulnerable defense, especially in that secondary as well. But just in general, getting him completions, moving the chain, Saquon will be able to do for this offense. So I think Daniel Jones will be a borderline QB1 as well.
Yeah, I mean, Seattle allows the 8th most fantasy points to the quarterback position through 3 weeks. They allow the 2nd most fantasy points, PPR points, to the wide receiver position. Is there a wide receiver that you have any interest in playing? We saw Wan'Dale Robinson come back into the fold last week.
Yeah.
He played limited snaps, but he was targeted on a high percentage of those snaps that he played. So it tells you that they see him as one of the key components in this offense. Sorry, I had cut you off a little bit, but did you say a name that you were interested in playing?
I mean, Darren Waller, as far as the pass catcher, he's a tight end one for me, but I can't predict on one of these guys making a big play. I could see it, or like them getting into the end zone. I just can't really trust anyone to start right now. Unless they start to use High in a better way. I think he's the most talented.
You mean as opposed to keeping him on the bench?
Yeah.
Okay.
Using him at all. Yeah.
Using him at all, right? Yeah. I think that I agree.
Yeah.
No, I agree. Darren Waller has definitely been another guy who's been underwhelming. But I agree. He's a low end tight end one. And when I say low end tight end one, I mean like we talked about the 6 guys that you could rank as a tight end one. He is number 6 for me. Just based on what he's done. But outside of that, yeah, I think you can't really trust any other options. I will stash a Wan'Dale Robinson before this game, though, if I've got the space. I don't know how much upside there is in that, right? Because what did he have last week? 4 catches for like 12 yards or something like that.
Yeah, it's hard to because one will have a good week or get usage, and then the next week, none of the receivers have that consistency yet. Not sure.
All I remember is last year against Detroit in a half. My man Wan'Dale had 9 for 100. and then he tore his ACL, and that was the last time we saw him.
Just like Kadarius Toney, he had like what?
Remember what I said that day?
16,
He had
15,
like 15 catches for like
he got ejected too.
$1.89, whatever it was, and I was like, I think that we missed the train on Kadarius Toney. I think that was the best game. I said, I gotta pull it up. I said, I think that's the best game he'll ever have in his career, and we missed it. If you didn't start it, we missed it.
Yeah, so far you're right. He's not going. He hasn't repeated that at all. Not even close.
On the Seattle side, Geno Smith QB1 for you this week.
Yeah, I like all these pieces, especially Kenneth Walker. He should go crazy this week. And then DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, both could be in that wide receiver one upside, but I'm having a strong wide receiver twos.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Kenneth Walker. The New York Giants allowed the 7th most PPR points to the running back position. So Kenneth Walker to the 3rd, definitely in a great spot. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, I definitely agree with you there. They're going to be strong wide receiver twos. Both can have wide receiver one upside, but I think they should definitely be in your lineup this week. Anything else on this game, Greg, that you want to add? Oh, wait, there is one thing I wanted to add. Noah Fant. He's
You're right.
He's the guy I think I'm going to go to this week at the tight end position. Luke Musgrave is my stream of the week, but I think he elevated this week, depending on what I think.
Yeah.
I have an inkling in the next segment that he is elevated beyond stream consideration. But Noah Fant, if I could have redone this, probably would have been my stream of the week, just mainly because he's more widely available. If I look quickly in Yahoo leagues, Yahoo leagues, he is rostered in 2% of Yahoo leagues. So
yeah, I think this is a good mention right here for sure. I think he definitely can be a play.
Yeah, I mean, the New York Giants allow the highest target share to the tight end position at 32%. League average is somewhere about 19%. So teams are targeting their tight ends against the Giants at an extremely high rate. And this goes back to Jake Ferguson saw 7 targets. Dallas Goedert. Zach Ertz saw 8 targets, and then George Kittle saw 9 last week. So I think Noah Fant definitely has an opportunity here to make some plays against this Giants defense for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. It's almost that time for the starts of the week, but we got a question here from Vols the GOAT, 12-man full PPR. Mahomes, ETN, Montgomery, I'm assuming that's David Montgomery, Jamar Chase, Christian Watson, TJ Hawkinson, Tyler Lockett, Puka Nacua, Tyler Algier, Samaje Perine, Quentin Johnston, Jackson Smith and Jigba, and Kenneth Gainwell. Should I trade Lockett and Algier for James Cook? I'm going to just assume that this is a 2 wide receiver league, 1 flex, maybe 3 wide receivers, 1 flex, and 2 running backs. Your RB2 is a little weak. I think I would make that trade.
Yeah. I think if you can get away with giving up Watson and Algier, but I don't think that will work. So you might have to give up Lockett. Yeah.
I don't see particularly why you have to give up Algier, right? Like, to me, I see this as a wide receiver 2 for an RB2. That should just be like a 1-for-1, in my opinion. Unless this person has Bijan Robinson and then they are, trying to lock up their running back.
Or just give him some depth back just in case.
Yeah, just give him some depth back. But I feel like you should be able to get away with just doing Lockett for James Cook straight up. That's kind of where I'm at. Or like you said, Christian Watson and Algier. I think Watson is the unknown, right? Like, and this hamstring could linger, or Watson could be great, right? And it could be, he could be, like you said, Greg, like a high-end wide receiver 2. But I just find it hard that I would have to give up 2 pieces when I'm giving a high-end wide receiver 2, right? Like Lockett's coming off his down game last week, but obviously had the game the week before where he scored 2 touchdowns, right? And was a high-end wide receiver 1. So I feel like you should be able to get away with doing a 1-for-1. But if this person is adamant and stuck on this trade, I would not hate it at all.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, let's get into that money time, man. Those starts of the week, Greg. Start it up, man, because I feel like I might give people some acid reflux with my quarterback start of the week. So go ahead and start it up for us, Greg.
Gotta go Brock Purdy versus Arizona, aka Glock Purdy. Shout out to my man Chris. Yeah, he's got a great matchup here. 49ers big cover. Doesn't matter kind of the gameplay or the game script for this team. I think Brock Purdy will get it to his receivers, get it to George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, even McCaffrey for a multiple touchdown game, and I think over at least 250 yards. So I think he's gonna have a solid game here. You can start him up with confidence.
Yeah, I absolutely love this one. Brock Purdy was somebody I was kind of looking at as a start of the week consideration for me. Has a very good matchup this week, and think he puts up a QB1 performance for sure. My quarterback stream of the week. Get ready.
Start of the week.
Start of the week. Quarterback start of the week.
Own that. Own this.
Is Justin Fields. Give me that. I've got a feeling about this one here. Denver allows the second most fantasy points to the quarterback position, not to mention what they allow on the ground as a rush defense. We obviously know that's Justin Fields' strength. I know he's been bad through 3 weeks, but I think he shows out in this matchup. We've seen this movie before with Fields, and I think this is the week for him to take off. We always want to hit it early. We never want to hit it after the fact. So I'm calling my shot now. Justin Fields, top 11. It's not even 12. Top 11 quarterback performance this week.
I'm hoping you're right. I mean, the matchup is there. Everything's there. We need some QB design runs from the Bears coaching staff. I need it. Yeah, man, it's got to come this week, man. It's got to come. They've had the roughest 2 weeks of organization, Cab. So they got to come through.
Like, honestly, if we just get one quarterback design run this week, it could literally lift the floor.
Yeah, that's true.
Could just lift the floor. Greg, what about running back start of the week? What do you got?
Running back start of the week, I'm going with James Cook versus Miami. I think Miami's rush defense is definitely vulnerable. We thought that would be a great matchup for Javonte last week. I think Denver wasn't ready to play, but James Cook, a much better running back. I think this game is going to go back and forth, and I think James Cook is going to be a part of that. Even he can do it both on the ground and pass catching as well. So this is the perfect game script for him.
Yeah, I like this one a lot. Again, another one that was in start of the week consideration for me. I love this matchup here. Again, the only problem we ever have with James Cook is that he's probably not going to touch the ball once they get inside the red zone, but I think he could do a lot of damage against this Miami rush defense between the 20s for sure, and as a receiver out of the backfield. My running back start of the week, I was going to go with the aforementioned Javonte Williams, so I just want to highlight I like him. I like his matchup here, but there was a guy that I feel like I got to call it out, man, because we could go to the moon with this one, and some people aren't even going to see it coming, man. Alexander Mattison going up against Carolina. And this one, look, just hear me out real quick. He's had some underwhelming games to start the year, but those were some tough matchups. Tampa Bay, Philadelphia in week 1, week 2, respectively. He had a much better showing last week against the Los Angeles Chargers in what was a plus matchup. This week, he gets a Carolina defense that catch this one, Greg, allows the third most fantasy points to the running back position. The Carolina defense has also allowed the most running back rush attempts inside the 5-yard line, and they've allowed the most touchdowns to running backs inside the 5-yard line with 5 rushing touchdowns so far this year. I'm not done. The Minnesota Vikings are one of just 3 teams here to not score a rushing touchdown all season, and that's not due to a lack of effort. Madison has tied for third amongst running backs with the third most carries inside the 5-yard line, has yet to score a touchdown. And just based on a little math, he should, based on based on his 4 rush attempts inside the 5, should have 1.76 rushing touchdowns on the season. Again, has none. So I think there's some positive regression here at play for Madison against the Carolina rush defense that allows the 5th most rushing yards to running backs while allowing a healthy 4.6 rushing yards per attempt. This seems like a blow-up spot here for Alexander Mattison.
Yeah, it's got to be. As long as this man doesn't fumble the ball, he should be in a great spot to potentially get in the end zone. He's getting opportunities. I think this is the spot as well.
Definitely agree. Greg, your wide receiver start of the week, brother. What do you got?
Got to go, my man T. Higgins versus Tennessee. I mean, the matchup is golden here. Just the wide receivers for the Bengals in general should eat in this matchup. Tennessee's rush defense has been very stout this year, pretty top 5, I would say, across the league. So Joe Mixon is going to have a tough time. Joe Burrow is going to want to get it to his receivers on the outside. I think starts with Jamar Chase and also T. Higgins. Tennessee's giving up 230 receiving yards per game to the tight end position. That's 4th worst in the league. So T. Higgins is going to be in a great spot here.
Again, another one that I love, man. T. Higgins was definitely somebody I considered. He's a strong bounce back candidate. And you want to talk about wide receivers? Tennessee allows the highest target share to the position. 74% of teams' opposing targets go to the wide receiver. That is an astronomical rate. Definitely fire up T. Higgins and what should be a bounce back game. He's got a 36% catch rate on the season through 3 games. His career catch rate is about 68%, I think it's 65, 68%. So there's some regression coming, especially if those targets keep coming.
Yeah, 19 receptions a game they're giving up to wide receivers. He should eat.
Definitely like that one. My wide receiver star of the week, I love Chris Olave this week against Tampa Bay. 10th most PPR points allowed to the wide receiver position. And he's been really good thus far as he ranks as the wide receiver 12 on the season, scoring no less than 14.6 PPR points all year. I'm expecting a big game from him, even with the quarterback change against this Tampa Bay defense.
Yeah, I love it here. Hopefully it should be good for him. He's not, on the Saints, so people will probably be focusing on, hopefully not getting ejected. He'll stay in the game for the entire time, and he'll come through.
Most definitely. What did they just send Mike Evans on defense to start a fight with Chris Olave?
That's next level.
That's
smart.
Big brain.
That's big brain.
Greg, your tight end start of the week, man. It seems like you gave my stream of the week an upgrade.
Yeah, man. Luke Musgrave, looking at it, Detroit's defense against the tight ends is the worst in the league. I mean, they're giving up 87 yards per game to the tight end position, and that's almost 20 yards more than the next team below them. So they've been getting light up all season so far to the tight end position. Luke Musgrave in a spot here where he's going to get targets and looks. And a young tight end that we coming into the year we liked a lot. So I think this is a good spot for him to finish, as one of those tight end ones.
Obviously, love this one.
Tight end one. Yeah.
High-end tight end one. Love this one. I mean, I'll give everybody a peek behind the curtain. He's my tight end 6 on the week. Behind the guys that we talked about, including Sam Laporta. So definitely love him this week against Detroit. He was my stream of the week. Again, getting an upgrade here from Greg. So he's available. Last week when I reported on, or not reported, but when I dropped him as my stream of the week yesterday, he was available in 31% of leagues. So he could still be available in your league. Again,
still 36 actually right now.
36. So only pushed up 5%. He plays tonight on Thursday Night Football. So if you're watching or you're listening and you want to make this move, you want to pivot to a Luke Musgrave, do it now. And before you decide, I don't want to take a chance on the rookie, just hear this one thought. I'm going to keep dropping these stats all day. I actually tweeted them out yesterday as well. The Detroit Lions allow the second highest target share to the tight end position behind the New York Giants at 32%. So not very far from the Giants. You're getting almost as good, a matchup here as the New York Giants matchup. So definitely like this one. And I think Detroit allows the most PPR points at tight end position as well.
They do. Yep.
We talked about this yesterday. They played the Chiefs without Travis Kelce. They played Noah Fant in Seattle, and they've played the Atlanta Falcons, who don't use Kyle Pitts and have Jonnu Smith, who they like to use a lot. So definitely love this one here. My tight end start of the week. You sound like you're from London. Talking about Evan Ingram. out in the London game here at 9:30 in the morning, going up against the Atlanta Falcons, where it's a fantastic matchup here for Ingram, going against the Atlanta Falcons defense that allows the fourth most PPR points to the tight end position. Atlanta is also, again, dropping these stats all day, third in target share to the tight end position, allowing the position to see a 27.5% target share against them. That should benefit Evan Ingram, who's seeing a healthy 18.6% target share on the season. Love this matchup here for him. And another stat here for you. Atlanta has allowed a touchdown to opposing tight ends in each of their last 2 games.
I love it. No, I think Evan Ingram, he's been balling this year. I think he's kind of, he's separating himself as far as being a tight end, and he's been getting a lot of looks. So I love this matchup here.
Most definitely. And you know what time it is. It's time for some get money.
Cha-ching, cha-ching, baby.
Cha-ching, cha-ching. Greg is leading 2-0, which hurts my soul, but don't call it a comeback. Again, if you are unfamiliar, Get Money is a head-to-head DFS contest on FanDuel, which is kind of funny when you think about it, because we do this show through the lens of PPR leagues, but then we got to shift just a little bit and go to FanDuel where it's half-point PPR, but it's a snake-style draft. Once a player is selected, they are removed from the player pool, so Greg and I cannot have the same lineup. Typically, Greg gets the first pick in odd weeks, and I get the first pick in even weeks, but Greg was not here last Thursday, so we did not play the game, and therefore Greg is going to have the first pick in what is an even week. So going forward, I'll have the first pick in odd weeks. So without further ado, Greg, go ahead. Break my soul.
Give me Devontae Adams, 8,100, wide receiver 1. Slide him in.
I do not hate that. I don't want to do this with you, Greg. I really don't want to do this with you because I feel like you're going to hurt me. Okay. Yeah, I like this. Give me T. Higgins as my first wide receiver. 7,300.
That's brutal. That's real brutal. I'm gonna have to pivot and then probably make a shift at defense. All right. So give me TJ Hawkinson at tight end, 7,200. Going against Carolina.
Give me Alexander Madison, my running back start of the week, 7,200 going up against Carolina.
I'm going to take James Cook at running back, 6,800, my running back start of the week.
Give me Chris Olave at wide receiver, my wide receiver start of the week, 7,900.
RB2, taking Zach Moss, he's 7,300, going against Indy.
I like the way this is going for me right now. Give me Javonte Williams, my backup running back start of the week, 5,800 going up against Chicago.
Who's that?
Javonte Williams.
Okay. At quarterback, I'll take Brock Purdy, 7,100 quarterback start of the week.
For my third receiver, it's really my first in order, but first wide receiver is Tyreek Hill, 9,600 going up against Buffalo.
Love it there. For my second wide receiver, give me Jalen Waddle, 7,400 going against Buffalo.
You took that extra $100.
I did.
Spent an extra $100 to go up. Okay, I see you. As my defense, give me the San Francisco 49ers, 4,700.
As my third receiver, give me Tutu Atwell, 6,300 going against Indy.
In my flex, give me Roshan Johnson, 5,300 going up against the Denver Broncos, rather.
And in my flex, give me Tank Dell, 6,200 going against Pittsburgh.
At tight end, give me Dalton Kincaid, 4,800 going up against Miami.
All right, and my defense, it was going to be Houston. I was so locked into that, but I had to save some $100, so I'm going to take the Rams defense going against Indy.
And for my quarterback, give me my quarterback start of the week, Justin Fields, 7,200 going up against Denver Broncos.
There you go.
There we go. Greg did not break my lineup. I broke his.
Yes, slightly. Yeah, I want a T real badly.
You know what's crazy is that, so just people behind the lens know, I had just set my lineup after sending it to you, and then you texted me as Greg normally does on Thursdays, texted me his starts of the week, and I saw T. Higgins, and I was like, I gotta take T. Higgins with the first pick. This is my immediate thought. So
yeah, he was close. I mean, but Devontae, that's Devontae, so I had to get him first.
No, go ahead, you get him. Absolutely, that's fine. I mean, he's a blow up spot. I don't even know why I didn't even think I could have afforded him too, for sure. I just didn't even. I was like, Tyreek Hill, give it to me.
Yeah, but he's nuclear. Tyreek Hill.
He is nuclear. Greg, why don't you go ahead and read off your lineup for the people real quick?
Yep, Brock Purdy, 7,100. Zach Moss, RB1, 7,300. James Cook at 6,800 as my RB2. Devontae Adams at 8,100 going against the Chargers. Jalen Waddle at 7,400 going against Buffalo. My wide receiver 3, Tutu Atwell, 6,300 going against Indy. TJ Hawkinson at my tight end position at 7,200. Tank Dell, 6,200 going against Pittsburgh, and the Los Angeles Rams defense at 3,600.
Nice. My lineup is Justin Fields at quarterback, 7,200 going up against Denver, my start of the week. Javonte Williams, 5,800 going up against Chicago, my backup start of the week, behind Alexander Madison, who is my start of the week, going up against Carolina, 7,200. Tyreek Hill, 9,600 going up against Buffalo. Chris Olave, my wide receiver start of the week, going up against Tampa Bay at 7,900. T. Higgins, Greg's wide receiver start of the week, 7,300 going up against Tennessee. Dalton Kincaid, my tight end, or he's not my tight end start of the week, but he's my tight end in my lineup this week, 4,800 going up against the Miami Dolphins. Roshan Johnson going up against the Denver Broncos, 5,300 in my flex. And then the San Francisco 49ers defense, 14-point home favorites, going up against the Arizona Cardinals for 4,700 as my defense.
Yeah, that's nice.
It is nice. Hopefully I get my first dub of the year. Hopefully I have half a sense of mind to put that for some cash in the lineup, because I have forgotten the last couple of weeks,
Same.
especially that week you made me change my lineup where I had Baker and Mike Evans, and then I changed a lot of things around and went up to like Lamar, who had a bad game, and then went down to Chris Godwin, who was not nearly as good as Mike Evans, who went nuclear. So hopefully I remember this time. Greg, anything you want to say to the people before we close this one?
Now let's get this week started. Pretty exciting week that we got starting. Justin Watson, think he's expected to play.
Christian
Watson. Justin Watson also, another name. Hopefully he starts popping up too in fantasy, because he's looking like the most explosive receiver on the Chiefs. So, both of all the Watsons, I hope they thrive.
Is there any like player that's teased us more than like Justin Watson? It's like he goes with like Tom Brady in Tampa Bay, and now he's with Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City, and like he always pops off like this big play, and then you think, oh, Justin Watson, and then like nothing ever happens.
Hopefully Taylor Swift gives him some magic. He gets some of that magic, and let's see.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not a Swiftie. I'm not even really familiar with Taylor Swift's music, so I can't even like, drop a song reference here like people do all the time. Can't do it. Not me. Not gonna pretend.
It's easy is just shaking it off. Shake off the haters. Doing that. That's the easy one. Zach Wilson and the Jets hopefully never ever get back together. So after the season. So just a couple references right there. There you go.
Look at Greg, our resident Taylor Swift fan. Look at that coming through. But anyway, y'all, good luck this weekend. Resist the tilt. Don't check your fantasy scores after each play. Just watch the games. Spend time with family and friends. Just trust that you put yourself in the best position to win your matchup this week with the work that you've done. Hopefully that includes listening to a lot of us. But anyways, y'all, we appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We will see y'all on Monday, 3 p.m. Eastern, to break down the week that was in week 4. Have a good one, everybody. And we're out of here. Peace.
We out.